I'm writing this because the school still appears in my dreams. Exactly the way it looked that night, too quiet, too clean, like it was waiting for someone to remember it. My name is Andrew Miller. I was a substitute teacher for the county school district in Pennsylvania. Temporary jobs, short notices, places no one else wanted to go. That's how I ended up at Ridgewood Elementary, a school that officially shut down 3 years before I stepped inside it. The email came in at 6:12 p.m. Emergency overnight supervision needed. One night only. No explanation, no contact number, just an address. I hesitated. Everyone knows closed schools aren't supposed to reopen quietly, but I needed the money, and the district logo was real. That mattered more than it should have. The school sat at the edge of town, surrounded by trees and a rusted fence that had collapsed inward. The parking lot lights were on, but only half of them worked. The building itself looked untouched. Windows clean, doors locked, flags still hanging limp on the pole. That should have scared me. Inside, the air smelled like floor cleaner and dust. Not abandonment. Maintenance lights hummed softly. Hallway clocks were still ticking, but they all showed different times. I told myself that was normal. Old buildings do that. The office phone rang the moment I stepped behind the desk. I answered it. A woman's voice spoke calmly. "You're here." "Good." I asked who she was. She didn't answer. She just said, "Stay in the building until morning. The students don't like being left alone." The line went dead. I checked the class lists on the desk. There were names, full rosters, every grade, dates from 3 years ago. At 9:03 p.m., a bell rang. Not the loud one. The class change bell. I laughed out loud. Nervous reflex. Then I heard footsteps upstairs, small ones, running. I climbed the stairs slowly, telling myself it was pipes, animals, echoes, anything except what it sounded like. The second floor lights were on. Every classroom door was closed, except one. Room 214. Inside were desks, occupied. Children sat perfectly straight, hands folded, facing the chalkboard. None of them moved. I asked who their teacher was. All of them turned their heads at once. "We've been waiting," one girl said. That was when I noticed something wrong. The chalkboard was filled with writing. My name, over and over. I didn't step into the classroom at first. I stood in the doorway of room 214, my hand still on the light switch, my mind trying to catch up with what my eyes were seeing. The children sat completely still, their feet flat on the floor, their backs straight, their hands folded neatly on their desks as if someone had carefully arranged them that way. There were at least 20 of them. Too many. Elementary age. Second grade, maybe third. Their faces were pale but not sickly. Their eyes were open, alert, focused on me with an attention I had never seen in any classroom before. No whispering, no fidgeting, no blinking. One of them spoke again, the same girl who had spoken before. "You're late," she said. I glanced at the clock above the chalkboard. It read 9:03 p.m. The second hand wasn't moving. None of the clocks in the room were moving. "I think there's been a mistake," I said, keeping my voice slow and calm the way teachers are trained to do. "School's been closed for a long time." The children didn't react. Then a boy in the second row raised his hand. I felt my stomach tighten. "Yes?" I asked automatically. "We're not allowed to leave until attendance is taken," he said. "That's the rule." A low humming sound filled the room, barely noticeable at first. It reminded me of the sound fluorescent lights make when they're about to burn out. I looked up, expecting to see the lights flickering, but they were steady, perfectly steady. The humming wasn't coming from the lights. It was coming from the walls. I stepped back into the hallway. The moment my foot crossed the threshold, the classroom door swung shut behind me. Not slammed, closed, careful, like a reminder. The hallway felt longer now. The walls seemed farther apart, the ceiling higher. My footsteps echoed too much. I reached for my phone and realized I had no signal, no bars, no emergency calls. At the far end of the hall, another classroom door opened, then another. Children stepped out into the hallway, forming lines without being told. Some held notebooks. Some held pencils sharpened down to nothing. Some carried backpacks that looked too heavy for their small frames. None of them spoke. They just waited. A bell rang again, louder this time, and every child turned toward the stairwell. They began walking in perfect order, their shoes making soft, synchronized sounds against the floor. I followed at a distance, my legs moving on instinct more than decision. Downstairs, the cafeteria lights were on. The room was full. Every table was occupied by children eating meals that had gone cold years ago. Milk cartons sat open but untouched. Trays were stacked neatly, as if someone had cleaned and reset them every night. A woman stood near the serving line. She wore a teacher's cardigan and an old district badge clipped to her chest. Her hair was pulled back too tightly, and her smile never reached her eyes. "You came," she said, sounding relieved. "We were afraid they'd send someone else again." "Again?" I asked. She nodded. "They always do, when the noise gets too loud, when the names start showing up on paperwork again." I asked her what happened to the school. She gestured toward the children. "They were forgotten," she said simply. "That's worse than being closed." The lights flickered. The humming grew louder. The children began to whisper, not to each other, but to the room itself. Names drifted through the air. Teachers, parents, bus drivers, custodians. Mine. The woman placed a clipboard in my hands, the same clipboard I had seen at the front desk when I arrived. "Attendance," she said. "You know how this works." I looked down. Every student's name was already checked off, except one. Mine. The bell rang again, sharp and final. The children stood up. The woman stepped back, her smile fading. "You'll do fine," she said. "You always do." I don't remember leaving the school. I remember standing in the parking lot at sunrise, keys in my hand, the building dark and silent behind me. The fence was locked. The lights were off. The flag was gone. When I checked my phone, there was an email timestamped 6:12 a.m. "Thank you for covering. Attendance confirmed." I quit teaching that week, but sometimes late at night, when everything is quiet, I hear a bell in the distance. Soft, familiar. And I know somewhere a classroom door is still open, waiting for a name that hasn't been crossed off yet. I thought quitting would end it, that if I stopped showing up to classrooms, stopped answering emails, stopped checking schedules, the school would finally let me go. It didn't. For weeks after that night, everything felt normal again. I slept through the night. I stopped hearing the bell. I convinced myself the experience had been stress, exhaustion, my brain filling in gaps it didn't understand. That lie lasted exactly 23 days. On the 24th, I found chalk dust on my hands when I woke up. I stood in my kitchen staring at my palms, rubbing them together, watching the fine white powder fall onto the floor. I hadn't touched chalk in weeks. I hadn't even driven past a school. My phone buzzed while I was cleaning it up. Unknown sender, no subject line, just an attachment. I opened it. A scanned attendance sheet filled the screen. Ridgewood Elementary, room 214. Every student's name was checked. At the bottom in red ink, a new line had been added. Miller, Andrew, present. I dropped the phone. It vibrated again before it hit the floor. Another message. "You missed morning announcements." That night, the bell came back. Not distant this time. Not imagined. It rang from inside my apartment. Once. Pause. Twice. Pause. I stood frozen in my living room, listening. Then I heard chairs scraping against tile. Small voices lining up, reciting my name over and over. I didn't sleep. I sat against the wall until morning, lights on, waiting for it to stop. When the sun came up, the sounds faded, leaving only silence and a deep, bone-level exhaustion. I called the district office that afternoon. I told them everything. The closed school, the students, the attendance sheet. There was a long pause on the line. Then the woman sighed. "You weren't supposed to remember that much," she said. I asked her what she meant. She hesitated, then spoke quietly. "Ridgewood never closed," she said. "It was reassigned. I demanded to know where the children were." "They're still enrolled," she replied. "They just don't age." I hung up. That night, my front door unlocked itself at 9:03 p.m. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I listened as footsteps entered my apartment. Small ones, careful ones. They stopped in my hallway. A voice spoke, calm and familiar. "Line up," it said. Chairs scraped, paper rustled, a pencil rolled across the floor and stopped against my foot. Then the bell rang. Loud, final. I don't know how long I stood there. When I finally looked down, there was a clipboard resting against my leg. The same one. Only one name was unchecked now. Not mine. Yours.